Hey, what's going on, everyone? I'm back, another video for you all. So, just pray that God gives me the words to speak to you all, and I pray that this edifies your spirit. So, um, today I actually wanted to tackle the question, how do we know that God exists? I know there are some people who are on the fence about it. Um, it's they kind of go back and forth. It's like, well, he does exist, but then again, I've never seen him, heard him. You know, how do I know he really exists? He's really up there. Um, and there may be people who aren't on the fence and they're just convinced that God doesn't exist. He's imaginary. He's nothing but a fictional character. Well, I wanted to talk about this today, and hopefully, what I have to say will be able to shed some light for those who are on the fence and for those who just don't believe. I hope that this will at least allow you to think about what I'm saying, stir up some thoughts, and to do your own research as well to hopefully come to the conclusion that God is definitely real. So, um, that's what I'm gonna talk about. So, the first thing I want to do, I want to open up the Word. I want to start off by going to Hebrews chapter 11, and I'm gonna read verses 1 through 3. And I'm reading from my King James Version Bible. And you can read from any version Bible. I know some people are strictly King James, but I look at all forms of the Bible, mainly King James and NIV, New International Version, which just makes it more plain English. It kind of updates it for our modern dialect. But okay, so I'm gonna read Hebrews chapter 11 verses 1 through 3, and it states, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear." So, let's go with the first verse. It talks about faith. Faith being the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now, we all, as humans, whether we all recognize it or not, we all exercise a form of faith. You tell someone that, if you study hard in school, you study hard, you pay attention, you will do good and you will eventually graduate. Well, you're expressing faith in that person because even though that ultimate goal of graduating has yet to pass, you sincerely believe that if they do these things, then that will be the outcome. You have faith that when you go outside and you put the key in the ignition of your car, when you turn the ignition, the car will start up. You already have faith, even though you haven't performed the action yet. Okay, so anytime you believe in something without it coming to pass yet, or without you having seen it for yourself, that's you exercising faith. So for people who believe in God, of course no one was around to see that the world was formed, but it's that faith that we have that allows us to believe that God created the world. what I want to do is I want to jump ahead to verse 3 of Hebrews, where it says, through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. So we all know, most people know about how the Bible starts off. Genesis 1:1, and really the whole first chapter of Genesis talks about God speaking through His Word things into existence. But I'm not gonna read the whole chapter. But I would like to read the first 3 verses, Genesis 1, verses 1 through 3, and it reads: In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. So right here, we can see, just like it says in the first part of Hebrews 11:3, about how things were formed by the Word of God, that it says, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. And you go all throughout the chapter, you see God saying, and God said, and God said, and God said, and God made, and God said. So we can see through His words, that He was making things come into existence. So even though we weren't around to see that, those who follow God can have faith that that's what it was. So let's move on to the second part of that verse, going back to Hebrews 11:3. It says, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. So basically this verse is saying the things that we see were actually made by things that we don't see. So things that are in existence now didn't come from anything that we can see, because essentially there had to be a single starting point. Okay? I know Mormonism, they're a polytheistic religious-based faith, which that just means that they believe in many gods. As Christians, we're a monotheistic religious faith. We believe in one God in the form of 3 persons, but still one God. But Mormons believe that there are an infinite number of gods. So there's no starting point. For those who believe in Big Bang Theory and all this, science can only go so far. And then at a certain point, there are questions that just can't be answered. As many answers as different famous scientists and astronomers, as many famous minds have come up with theories and figured out certain things, just as many questions have been brought up that, really can't be answered. So for us as Christians, and, even in today's world, nothing just pops up on its own. You never see nothing creating something. Something is always a product of something else. Okay? Whenever I don't care what it is, whatever it is, there was something that preceded that thing. That's why that current thing is there now. Okay? I'll just say a building. What's a building? A building is made of bricks, mortar, window, steel, plumbing, insulation, all these different things. But now, all these different things didn't just happen to come together. No, it was designed, and it was carried out in a specific manner for it to serve a specific function. And the fact that the building can, hold furniture, and it can withstand different weather conditions, and just all of these things shows that, there was intelligence behind the design of that building. So, intelligence produces intelligence, and you will never see anything without intelligence produce something with intelligence. Okay? Just like in phones, these smart devices, robots, whatever the case may be, whatever it is that can have, that's an AI, that's an artificial intelligence. Well, its artificial intelligence is mimicking its creator. It's mimicking the one who designed it. The product of that thing attests to the person it came from. Okay? So, the same way, this world and everything that we see attests to something had to be before it in order to put this here. And not only that, you look at the world, you look at the planets. The planets all orbit around the sun. Okay? The fact that you have this orbit, this gravitational pull, these different laws in science that act, where did they come from? If planets are here, why aren't they just floating aimlessly through space? Why aren't planets just colliding with one another? The position of the Earth from where it is to the sun, science even states, if it was any closer to the sun, we'd all burn up. And if it was any farther from the sun, we'd all freeze. So the Earth is in a perfect position to be able to sustain life. Okay? The fact that this Earth and us and just creation in general is self-sustaining, I don't see how anyone could attribute that to, an accident or just kind of, random chance. Us as human beings able to create, a man and a woman coming together, sperm and the egg, fertilizing, able to create, us having that ability should be, it should be well known to say, if we're able to do it, then something before us gave us that ability to be able to do that. If you see a painting, it came from a painter. Whatever it is, it had to come from something of intelligence. You could take Lego blocks, or maybe a puzzle that's meant for a first grader or something like that. Old big piece puzzles, 25-piece puzzles. You can toss the blocks in the air, toss the puzzle in the air, shuffle them around. I don't care how many times you do it, you're never going to get any organization out of doing that. Okay? The blocks are only formed into an actual structure, and the puzzle is only made into a complete picture when a person of intelligence is able to put things in order.